Okay, so here I am in iClone and I've created a really basic animation that I'm going to have the character's arms move so I can test my um, cable attached to the arms that I'm going to create. So there's my motion I'm going to use. I need something, it's going to be limited to kind of basic slow motions like that, I think. And so I'm going to start in Blender and create the shape I need. So basically what I've done here is I've created a straight triangular cylinder. And if I go into edit mode, you can see that it's just a straight cylinder, triangular profile divided into a whole bunch of separate ribs. And then I've used a modifier to bend it along a curve to make that shape that I want. Um, the reason I'm using a triangle is because that will keep it from collapsing on itself. If you want to use like a different polygon, then you have to give it some internal structure. But for this application, I'm just going to use a triangle and then use some rendering tricks to make it look round in iClone. So I've got this and I have exported it. And so I will now go over to Character Creator and I have my character here and I need to import and attach that as clothing. Um, One other thing I should tell you before I get out of Blender is when I was in the um, edit mode here, I made sure to give it a UV. So here's the UV over here, and you can see that it goes from this is the bottom and this is the top. So that's going to allow me to weight it with a weight map that would be black on the bottom and black on the top when I'm in iClone. And basically that will connect this end and this end to wherever I want them to be attached to. And so if I come back over to the layout, so I've exported it like that. It's UV'd, ready to go. And now I will go over into CC again. And I'm going to import that. And there it is. And I'll move it into the place where I want it. It's going to be over on his arm. And we will then rotate it um, into place. About like that. And then rotate it down this way a bit. I can zoom in a bit. And I will move it down and then back a little bit. Okay, and you may want to scale it a bit here too. I'm going to make it a little smaller than this. So I want it to be about right like that. And it may look a little wide, but you'll see in a moment what I'm going to do that's really going to help with that. So let's go over here so I can see the shape of it. And then what I want to do is go into my mesh menu and I want to select edit normals. And since I don't want it to look faceted, I'm going to pick a pretty big angle because these angles are, more than 90. So I just put in 180 and click on smooth. And that made a nice smooth looking mesh. And then there's another trick I'm going to do to make it, actually look smooth. See if you look here, you can see the angle on it. And what I'm going to do is come down to my smoothing, turn that on, and you can see it's already smoother. And let's even do one more. And I'm going to use the subdivision. You can use tessellation, but I think subdivision works better. It also makes it a little bit thinner, which looks pretty good. So we'll go with that. And then that's how I want it to look. And so I'm quite happy with that. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and rig it up as clothing. So I'm going to attach it to my character because I brought it in as a prop rather than an accessory. Okay, now it's attached to my character. I can go up to the top and transfer the skin weights. Okay, so here there's some important steps. Click on Other rather than the default. And you might be able to use default, but I think Other will work better. The difference is that it is transferring from a mesh that's the complete mesh, not just clothing mesh that would end right there. And it might just work a little better. But the really important thing is click on the lateral partitioning, and then you can select all your mesh. And see how it's two colors right now? It's actually kind of divided up funny. Um, so this is right and this is left. And you basically want to define them as arms rather than left or right. Um, but see, if I made that all left, it'd be all left. But if I just do that, it might also rig to the head a bit. It probably will. So I need to define, all of the vertices as arms mesh. And then I can go ahead and apply that. Okay, so normal clothing, you wouldn't really have to worry about that so much, but because this is unusual, we kind of do. Okay, so now I have it rigged to my character, and um, I'm going to go ahead and send this over to iClone and set up the weight maps in iClone. So I'll select my character. In iClone, I have a character already, and he's selected, so it'll replace when I send the character. So I will go ahead and send my character to iClone. Okay, when it tells you it's going to replace it, you want to click no, and then it will just remain here. Okay, see, so we have the guy, and there's the little bit we want to work on. And so what I want to do is select that. I double click it to select it in the scene because it's rigged to the character. And then I'll go over to my physics tab, activate physics. You might want to turn off gravity. You can try it either way. I'll leave it on for now. I need to load a weight map. And you can just load, say I use the one that's a black line at the top and a black line at the bottom. Find that one generally works pretty well. If you need to adjust it, then click on this if it has a little chain link there, and it will make it unique to that. And then you can adjust these brightness and contrast. Don't really need to for these because they're just kind of bars at the top and bottom. So we'll go ahead and close that. And then for physics settings, it's best to set the solver frequency as high as it goes, which is 1200. And don't need to worry about mass or friction or tether limit. Leave that the same. The only one you probably want to change a little bit is damping and make it a little bit higher. And if you go up to 100%, it won't really work very well. 90 works okay, but you just have to play with it. I'm going to try 70 for now. And then we should be ready to go. Make sure you have the physics turned on. We're not actually doing any collision in this case. In fact, I've turned the collision shapes off on the characters so they will not interfere with this mesh. So I can just turn that off completely. And then what I'm going to do is go ahead and play. And you might want to do this, in by frame. And so see, I'm playing my character animation here. And you can see how it moves kind of with the character and pops around with the motion a little bit. And it's not quite perfect. So you might want to, just play with the physics a bit until you get something that might look better. Um, I find putting elasticity up a bit often helps. And you're going to get some funny little popping and stuff occasionally as it moves around. And you can play with the damping. I thought that was pretty good, but let me show you what it does if I make it really low. For instance, let's put it down to point 1. And then if we play that, um, what you'll see is it bounces around a lot more when it bounces, which is probably not what a heavy cable would do. So I'll leave that up about 50 and try that. I find the elasticity can help. These others don't actually help. The stretch will make it much worse. The bending might help or might not. You can try that. So I don't think it really made any difference there. Um, so, and if you want to, you can try the solver frequency lower. The lowest it goes is 60. So if you just type in 0 and hit enter, you'll get 60. Um, and I always try the extremes just to see what happens. And in this case, it's working pretty well. Um, See, you got a slightly odd behavior there, where it moved back. You might like that. So now what I would try is turning off the gravity as well. Give that a shot, see what it does. And there, it came back to shape. The reason it's coming back like that is they have that triangulation on it, so it pushes itself back into shape. And so something like that works pretty well. So anyway, there's some ideas you can play with. It's actually a pretty tough nut to crack in iClone to make this work at all. So anyway, that's some ideas and good luck.